Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the GroupUp podcast. My name is Ozdragon, and on today's episode, we are joined by the wonderful and mythical Zunacorn and the amazing and talented Bonez977. Listen to us ramble on about a wide range of topics such as the art of cosplaying, conventions, and we even dive into a topic of online harassment and bullying. We hope that you enjoy this super long, special edition of the GroupUp podcast, and thank you very much for listening. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in to episode 5 of the GroupUp podcast. I'm your host Ozdragon, and today I am joined by Bonez977 and Zunacorn. How you guys doing today?
Hey.
Good.
Thank you for having us.
No, it's good. I really do appreciate you both for coming on this week's podcast. It's great to have you both on, and it's something a little bit different because a lot of the podcasts has just been myself and one other person. So yeah, we're thinking about doing every 5 episodes we're going to have 2 or so people in. So
I feel like you'll regret that after having Bones and I.
Yeah.
No, we'll see how it goes and what the community prefers, I reckon. But yeah, I just wanted to say first off that Zuna is the first female going to be shown on the podcast, so yay to that. And Bones is going to be the first cosplayer on the stream as well, or on the podcast, I should say, because we've had a lot of streamers on, but yeah, nobody else has been a cosplayer or anything. So obviously in GroupUp, we do mostly show off our streamers a lot more than anybody else, but we do have a lot of a creative branch in there as well, like cosplayers, artists and whatnot, so it's good to have you guys on today's podcast.
Yeah.
So to start off, I want you guys to describe each other to to people who may not know who you guys are. So Bones, you describe Zuna, and Zuna, you describe Bones as best you can. Because you guys are really you guys are like really good friends and should know a fair bit about each other. So
you want to go first, Bonesy?
Yeah, alright.
I believe in you.
Person. No. Probably the most down to earth, kindest person you probably ever chat with. Honestly, was heart of gold, basically.
Oh my god.
She's she could be absolutely nerdy on the smallest things and be passionate about certain things. So she's a good person to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Good person to hang to.
What kind of content does she produce?
She's a streamer, and also an artist, and also a newbie cosplayer as well.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely needs to get into it more.
Yes,
been trying to get her to do more cosplays. But yeah, she's getting into her art, which is awesome. Her art is really good, especially her using Microsoft Paint work. Everyone should check out.
Peak of my abilities.
The absolute best peak of her abilities. Zuna's Zuna,
Zuna is
Fair
Zuna.
enough.
Zuna is Zuna.
Okay. Yeah.
I need that on a shirt.
You need that as a shirt, yeah.
I do.
And what's Bones like, Zuna?
Bonesy, my dear friend, stumbled upon me once, 2-3 years ago now?
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah. Look, subscribed to me while drunk. And somehow we've become really, really close friends. He likes to portray himself as a bit of a bogan, bit of a tough guy. But he's got a soft, gooey, nougaty center. It is adorable.
Yeah.
He's a streamer who can be seen playing favorite games such as his BioShock. And he's also a cosplayer, so dedicated to the BioShock game that he even cosplayed as Daddy Delta, which you can see hiding behind him. He also hates the word daddy.
I really don't like that term. I really don't like that term.
When you cosplay as a big daddy, I think you've just got to accept it.
Oh, yeah. I have.
But honestly, Bones is one of my greatest mates, and I couldn't have asked for a better friend.
Awesome. No, it's so sweet of you two. I wouldn't have.
Sometimes, but like, it's great.
You guys are way too nice to each other. I wouldn't have given you that kind of description
no,
at all.
We are. I was about to lean in there, and I was like, "Oh shit, nah, I'm too nice."
Maybe it's just because you're on camera or something. You just hate each other.
I mean, I did take away his sword last night, and he got very upset.
Yeah! I sent a passionate video of me crying.
Yeah. Did actually?
Yeah.
It was an accident, I swear.
Not the first time that she's done it though.
Oh, it won't be the last.
Is it? Oh god.
All right. So before we start rambling on about other things, what do you guys think of the GroupUp community? I'm going to put that one in there as well.
That's a good one to throw in as well. Yeah.
I came across it through you, obviously, man.
Okay.
I mean, you started it up and you were the one posting it and sharing it everywhere, and I decided, hey, I can get in on it. Also, sorry if swearing is not cool. Should have asked that before we started, hey. But I've been in a few groups, and I always kind of felt like I was a bit on the fringe of them, that I wasn't quite in there enough, was kind of just being like hello on the outside. And so I decided to jump in and join, and especially since it's not just Australia bound and it's not just streamer bound, so I feel like you get a wider variety of people there, so like you can mesh with kind of at least one person in there. You're going to share common interests.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's purple. Shallow.
Yeah. I discovered GroupUp from Twitter, actually. You were promoting it on Twitter once, and everyone was like retweeting it, and I was like, and I'm hardly on Twitter. Like, the only time I'm on Twitter is like when I'm like,
do you have a Twitter?
yeah, see? Like, I'm hardly on Twitter. Like, the only time I really post things is like 3 a.m. if I'm half asleep and I need to get off my mind. So yeah, I found it, and yeah, you're promoting it, and I was like, I'll check it out, because especially communities where, it's always been like, everyone's been, there's always tiers to them. Like, people always been like, you don't feel like you're part of it, sort of thing. Like, I always find that sometimes groups have, gossip and all that kind of stuff. But ever since I joined GroupUp, yeah, but GroupUp has never had that. It's always been so supportive and opening. Like, everyone's just here to have fun. Like, everyone wants to meet new people. There's so many things, you can talk about, like cosplaying, of course, streaming, if you need tech advice. Like, even though I'm in the shadows and sometimes ask for help with tech stuff, at least there's someone within 5 minutes messaging saying, this is how you do it. And that's amazing with a group. And it's probably like the first ever community I've ever joined in, like, streaming wise, cosplay wise, that. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. Yeah, I was thinking, obviously because you're a pretty passionate cosplayer and stuff, if we managed to get like more cosplayers and stuff in it would, or like even artists and that, it would probably be a good way to interact with each other and get tips and tricks on, cool. On what to do and what not to do, because obviously over the years you've learnt what to do and what not to do, and obviously you're still learning as well, so to have that kind of thing there for, somebody that's wanting to get into cosplay or something could be useful.
Cosplayers are always sharing tips and tricks with each other, and if we can have a base to kind of do that and help each other, it's so good.
Especially when there's bigger groups. Like, there's massive cosplay group scenes like everywhere, and people normally tend to be nervous to really put their 10 cents in and asking a question, because they feel like they want to be treated like dumb. So when you have a community where everyone's like, hey, we're streamers and everything, so you don't have to worry about that, so you can ask questions.
Sometimes you feel like you have an incredibly basic, incredibly stupid question that you think like you should know the answer to, and like you put it out there, and sometimes you get people straight away that are like, oh yeah, like this is how you do it. I was confused at first, and you're like, oh, I'm not the only idiot.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll, get a little bit down that way if we manage to get more people coming in. But yeah.
We need to do some more organized cosplays, some group projects.
Definitely.
So Bones, How did you actually come across doing your like cosplays and stuff? And what was your first ever cosplay that you did? Do you remember?
Ooh, your
Yeah.
first cosplay.
Yeah, my first cosplay. Jeez. I've always been like a kid that's liking crafting stuff. So, like watching behind the scenes of movies and that, like building, like watching guys build props, like Star Wars.
You mean like special effects and everything?
Not yeah, like prop makers and that. Like like Star Wars, the prequels. Even though everyone gives them a bad rap, you know, the DVDs. I watch the behind the scenes DVDs more than anything. Like the guys making, you know, props and that.
Yeah.
I used to make lightsabers with my dad and that, like out of like scrap pieces and stuff. And I always loved that. And when I was a teenager, I think it was the very first PAX I went to, the very first Melbourne PAX, I saw cosplaying. And I was like, and you know, I was being socially awkward, didn't really get into it, nervous about people, what they would think of me, you know, doing it and not having any money.
Yeah.
Until like 3 years ago when I met a person who does YouTube, who does cosplaying, and I met him and he says, just do it. And ever since then, I've been doing it. I've been doing it for like, this is my 3rd year of doing it. And I've been loving it ever since. Yeah. And my first cosplay,
do you even remember?
Yeah, I do. So my first cosplay was Constantine. He's from John Constantine. If people don't know, he's from DC Comics. He is a British magician who likes smoking cigarettes and not caring.
Way too much.
Way too much.
I didn't know he was a magician.
Yeah, he's performs dark arts and that, so he messes with Satan a lot.
I was thinking card tricks. I'm almost disappointed.
That's Gambit.
Yes.
That's Gambit. Different character.
A DC hero that just does, you know, card tricks, sleight of hand tricks.
Like, yeah, so he messes with demons and that, and you know, he works with Batman sometimes. They have like this dark Justice League, which is really cool, and Batman feels so out of place because he doesn't believe in magic.
Yeah, that's
true. Really, really cool. So he's an amazing character, and as a first cosplay, he's very simple. So that got me into it, and then
he's almost what's called a wardrobe cosplay, isn't he?
It is. It's basically half my work uniform was him.
Yeah.
Like, red tie,
the
khaki
jacket,
trench coat.
Yeah,
that's it.
And
that was a cosplay.
And a cigarette.
Oh yeah, that's good. But I actually had to borrow a few off my mates, and that. I think one of my mates.
You didn't make one, like a fake one.
Time. Couldn't be bothered. Yeah, my mate gave me a prop cigarette actually for one con. Was a prop one, so you actually light it and like blow it out, and it's still you can relight it, and it was fine. It didn't no tobacco, nothing, and they use that in movies, so it was movie grade. Yeah, and so that was really good.
Awesome. Yeah, cool.
The first one.
What about you, Zuna?
Me, I am a baby cosplayer. I've always been interested just because I think it looks really cool, and like what person doesn't want to be their favorite characters, whether they be superheroes or game characters. Like, it's just kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I've always kind of thought about it, never did it. And then Bonesy here was like, you should do it. He's like, I think it'd be really cool. I was originally going to do a big sister from BioShock. Turns out that is a really intensive project for like a first cosplay. Like, scary level intense.
Go in like a big project as a first.
Yeah, everything would have had to have been custom made. So I downgraded, but I wouldn't consider it a downgrade, and I did a little sister from BioShock instead. I made the Atom Needle, and I kind of got to the point where it was getting too close to PAX, and I didn't have the dress made or a dress alternative. Bones here, being the legend he is, actually found a pretty much authentic, accurate little sister dress and got it sent to me. Yeah, and then I had to basically vandalize this dress with paint.
Literally peer pressured her to wear
it. It broke my soul in half to take this pretty dress and just slap paint all over it. But I did it, And then I went to PAX last year in 2019, cosplayed for the first time as a little sister. Bones was a Delta, and we had a big meetup, and it was great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that took actually finding that dress. A lot of talking and networking on my half. Yeah, like, man, sourcing that out was a lot of fun, honestly. And that's one of the key things I love about cosplay as well, is
sourcing it. It's all hung up nicely in my wardrobe, and I actually put it on the other day to film a little video for another project. So it's great. I love it. It still hurts my soul to think about the fact that I put paint all over it, though.
So from here on, obviously there's no conventions or anything happening this year, but in the future, what kind of, cosplay are you thinking of doing?
Well, recently, and I mean real recently, I've been throwing around the idea of doing a Sailor Moon cosplay, or if not a Sailor Moon, Sailor Venus or Mercury, or even Sailor Zuna. I don't know, my own take on it. But I think that'd be pretty cute, pretty fun. I'd need my mum's help with the sewing though, so.
No, awesome. And I know that Bones, you've got a couple of cosplays going on at the moment, like the Witcher one and that one from what's the game called?
Oh, Halo.
Halo. Halo. Yeah. And there was oh no, maybe you already did that one. There was the one in the zombie apocalypse. Did you already do that one?
Deacon from Days Gone, I finished him. That
Days
was the
Gone,
first one.
yes.
I took him out to one con this year. At least I had one.
The only con that went this year.
During the whole, what's going on right now, cons are not happening. So it's just basically the feeling of wanting to do cosplaying is kind of drops when you can't really wear them. So
when you can't show off your pride and joy.
Exactly. Like even though the fun is making cosplays, the other enjoyment is wearing them, basically. So I'm glad that I got to wear Deacon, and my other one, which was Alexios. I smashed him out in 2 months. That was my secret cosplay I did. Wearing those two cosplays at least at one con, I was happy. And then
let's be real here. A lot of enjoyment from actually wearing the cosplays, especially at conventions like PAX, is when little kids come up to you.
Oh my God, it's the sweetest thing.
Little kids freaking love costumes. It doesn't even matter if they know what you're from, and if they do, it's just a bonus. But if you're in a costume and you look cool, the kids, they think you're amazing. And you put the biggest smiles on their face, and you're like, I did that. They think I look cool. Or you scare them. One of it.
I think I definitely scared a few kids with Delta. Let's be honest. Some eyes were straight away when you walk through a con and wearing a big bulky thing, and the eyes
I mean, and you have a giant bloody drill.
Yeah. That does not
little
help.
Intimidating. I think that's the point, but I think that's the part I loved the most about wearing the actual cosplays is kids' reactions from it, honestly.
And scaring the kids. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Never gets old. I think I've been handed more children to have photos with, anything else I've ever done. I'm sitting there, I walk down the street, I'm wearing my cosplay, and then parents, the classic mum just yells get a photo with him, and then the kids are
or the kid really wants a photo with you, but they're really nervous, and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. You're like, I know I look scary, but
I'm a nice person. You just can't see my face.
You can hold my prop, but God, Lord, don't you drop it. We're having issues.
Oh. Yeah.
So, all right. So rewinding a little bit back to last year's convention, PAX 2019. Obviously, Zuna, that was your first convention where you cosplayed, and Bones, you did your Delta cosplay as well, which was it the first time that you were showing it off as well?
Yeah. That was, I was so nervous that week, man. That week leading up to it, the stress levels were non-stop. I had a con the week prior to that as well. I went to Sydney to Oz Comic Con in Sydney.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And then and then the next week later was PAX. So as soon as I got home to unpack, I had to repack for PAX.
Yeah.
And I was so nervous. I didn't want anything to break on him. Driving, like getting an Uber there, like that was a scary ride because the Uber driver was scary.
Yeah.
And I heard something crunching in the back seat of the car, and I'm like,
oh no.
It better not be it. I had a first aid kit just in case. I had like a few pieces broken off. I was like, okay, that's nothing. But yeah, that was stressful. But
last minute cosplay repairs are intense.
Oh man, that I'm getting thinking about it. Oh, but yeah, wearing it on that day was awesome. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see, probably like from there onwards. I couldn't see. So I had Zuna help me walk down to PAX. So thank you.
Seeing you walk down like just the streets in that is the highlight.
We had a 10-minute walk from Airbnb, and first off, you just hear the laughs, basically. You know, people
seeing the general population's reaction to you, especially those that have really no idea about cosplays or games or anything. It's just some great reactions out there.
That is probably the best thing about it, because like I would be so nervous wearing stuff like that in public, but now I don't care because, you know, I do this, you know, I can just wear trackies in a fancy restaurant. I wouldn't care because like I've seen judge, you know. Yeah. So yeah, it's great. That was a good con. That was a really good con that year.
Yeah. Just like talking about like people judging you and stuff on the streets, like I don't know, like I haven't experienced the cosplay side of things, but like, you know, once you get to the convention, you're surrounded by, you know, hundreds of other people that are doing exactly the same thing. You just forget about it. You don't care what people think or anything. And literally, like you guys said, like everybody loves it, coming up for photos and all that kind of stuff. So
you forget while you're at the con, if it's not something bulky like a Delta helmet, if you're just kind of wearing something a bit more casual, you kind of forget that you're in a costume essentially. And so you walk out, you've still kind of forgotten. You notice some looks, you're like, why? Then you go to a shop or like a restaurant to get food, and that's when you remember. You're like, oh, I look like this, right?
I wore a Nurse Jericho outfit, and when Heath Ledger Joker face paint, walking down the streets of Melbourne, you know, I completely forgotten that I was wearing makeup, and people looking at me. I'm like, what are people looking at me? And I look at a reflection of a building. I'm like, that's why I'm wearing a nurse outfit with Heath Ledger hair. And
did you startle yourself?
Yeah, I scared this. I actually did scare myself one stage. I went to the bathroom. I was like, you know, washing my hands. I looked. Oh, okay, that's you. I freaked out a lot of people as well, like walking down the street as well. They're like, oh, okay, that's you. Going around the corner. Boom. Oh, hi.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
It's just those little things.
What kind of tips would you give to like first time cosplayers as well?
Don't go in it. No, don't go into cosplay. I mean, don't go.
Just don't give up now.
It's waste of money. All right, you waste so much money. You know,
you will spend a lot of money.
You will.
You can do it cheaper, but you will spend a lot of money.
Honestly, just don't go in it too big. Like, don't have a massive cosplay you want to do start out. Like, I wanted to do a Batman cosplay. My first year doing cosplay, I did Constantine, and my next cosplay, I was like, I want to do Batman. Not a good idea, because when you look into Batman cosplaying, it's either very, very good or not that good. And of course, when you're a cosplayer, you want to be the best of the best, and that gets to the you know, 5,000, 2,000 plus range. And that's just a suit, bodysuit. The $2,000 is the bodysuit. $500 for the cowl, you know, cape can be $700 depending if you want to get it from someone from overseas who can do it. So it just gets too much. And so
one thing I want to mention while you're talking about the cost of these, is that it doesn't matter whether you make everything from scratch or if you buy every single part of your cosplay, it doesn't matter, you're still cosplaying. There seems to be this weird kind of divide of people who make their cosplays and people who buy their cosplays. And sometimes there's a little bit of clash. And honestly, it doesn't matter. If you're having fun and you're dressing up, it doesn't matter whether you spent, 20 hours on it or if you spent 20 minutes on eBay. It doesn't matter. If
Yeah,
you're
and
enjoying it, you're enjoying it.
that's a really good point as well. Like, people just go in it too deep. So just take your time. Pick a simple character. Like I picked Constantine. You know, I wore it on. You know, people think, this person's not going to know the character. Who cares? You're wearing it because you want to wear it. So that's another tip as well. Wear the cosplays that you want to wear. Like, you know, don't feel like you have to be a certain grade to get into it. Like, you know, people think, oh, I need to be this certain skills. I need, even like buying cheap $10 floor mats and just cutting it up and gluing it together just to see if you can make something. Like, that's something as well. Like for example, my ODST armor, all I'm using is $10 floor mats and a hot glue, and that's majority of the cosplay, and just some cheap spray paint, and and that's how you start, and then you develop those skills, and then over time, it takes time basically, and that's another thing. It takes time.
And cosplay whoever you want. It doesn't matter if you want to cosplay a male character or a female character or a really skinny character or a really muscly character, even if you don't fit into that mold of what the character is. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Cosplay is about being someone else. You know, you don't have to be that person. You're cosplaying as someone else. It doesn't matter if you don't look 100% like them.
Exactly. Yeah. There's people out there that will tell you this and right, but no one, like, when you're in a group of people who want to do it because they love it, those people don't really matter. Like, they don't last long in the community.
They really don't.
They really don't, because you get a massive group of people who will tell you you're wrong. If you're like, people start calling you out, and that's the thing. You don't have to stress about it. Even asking questions, talking to people, like,
join the GroupUp Discord and ask Bones.
Asking questions. I love
Bones will answer all your questions.
And like what you guys were saying before about how you can just like cosplay anybody. There's also you being able to put your own twist on certain cosplays. So you can cosplay something like, all right, I'm gonna pitch my idea that when I was thinking of actually starting cosplay, and I literally like started this, and within like a couple months I was just like, there's no way that I'm finishing this at all. So my idea was that that I was going to be a medieval knight, but I was going to have, and I think I told Zuna about this as well, was that I was going to be a Blastoise. So the shield was going to be its shell with like the pumps coming out of it, and then I was going to have the helmet that looked like a Blastoise head, and all the color and everything in medieval like knight armor and all that kind of stuff.
So bad.
So and like a shield as well.
That thing.
That'll be amazing.
But I like started it, and then I think I can't even remember what I did, but I know that I was starting the shield, and I was like, "There's no way that I could like figure out how to do this." So I just like I kind of gave up.
Honestly, like, trust me, oh man, you should do it. That's so cool. You need to do it.
It's such a cool idea, right?
It's a cool idea. Honestly, my mate, who I'm probably going to rope in this conversation, he has his own Batman universe. He's one of the guys who inspired me. Yeah. So my mate, so I'm going to plug in a name if that's cool.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
His name is Cosplay Chris, and he does his own DC universe that's Batman themed. He's got a pirate Batman.
Okay.
Absolutely amazing.
It is like really cool, honestly.
Yeah, he has his own Batman universe. I have a friend who has a pirate Red Hood, and there's tons of people who do that. So having your own spin and take on like a cosplay idea is so awesome. And like doing gender bends as well. Like I got a deal right. I had a bet which I lost that I have to do a gender bend Harley Quinn. So I'm doing a gender bend Harley Quinn, but I'm doing my own take of Harley Quinn. So instead of Harley Quinn, how she wears her jumpsuit, she has her hair blonde, all that kind of stuff. Now I'm doing a straight metalhead version of Harley Quinn. She's gonna have tattoos, neck tattoos, hair. Like I'm gonna have really bad face paint that looks like a metalhead does.
I can't wait to see this.
Patches of bands and that, and
nice.
and that's an idea. Like It's like it doesn't matter. Like if you want to do a character, do it. If you got
It also makes it a bit more unique in the end as well, you know.
yeah.
If you're someone that doesn't want to do a character that everyone else has done, then the easiest way to not do that is to just make it your own.
And the perfect thing about making it your own, there's no bar that you have to set to hit that goal as well.
There's
Only
also
your
no wrong answer as well, really.
Yeah.
People can't say, hey, you're not doing it right, whereas it's like it's your own spin on it. Like how can you do it wrong?
Yeah.
Oh man. There's been oh man, I've experienced people with that. Like especially with pirate themes and all that kind of stuff. People are like, you can't have that, they didn't have that, and it's like, this is my cosplay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Yeah,
So-
there's no saying that everything has to be accurate.
It doesn't have to be accurate, so it's great.
So I'm guessing for the most part, like most, obviously Bones, you've been in the cosplay scenery for quite a few years now, and Zuni, you just like recently got into it. Making friends and stuff in cosplay, I'm guessing a lot of them are like more accepting and all that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
do you still get like some of those cosplays that, you know, kind of, like you said, say that you're doing things wrong or something like that?
Especially not in the Melbourne community. Sorry.
No,
Especially
yeah.
not in the Melbourne community at all. Like everyone's so loving and caring, and that's the one thing that got me into cosplaying. I haven't fell into any drama. Everyone's been so supportive. When you start out, it's gonna be a bit awkward because you don't know anyone. Everyone knows each other for years, and that like they're basically best mates, you know.
Yeah.
And then next thing you'll talk to someone, you know, and then next thing you know that branches off. Like my first year cosplaying, I got a good friend from it, and then now I've been doing it for 3 years. If I walk in, I see people and go, "Hey, what's up?" And like, you know, it's like classic mafia movie thing. Hey, how you doing? You know, that walking down the the restaurant. Hey, I found that thing for you. No worries. It gets to that point.
Yeah. There's two easy ways to bond with another cosplayer. Doesn't matter who they are. It's either, you know, you love what they're cosplaying as, or they love what you're cosplaying as, or you're cosplaying as the same thing, instant bond, or two, you start talking about how they made something or how they found something, instant bond.
Yeah.
But yeah, in local communities, I've never really run into kind of people that shun others, but definitely online you can quite easily come across people who are like, oh, well, you didn't do that the right way, or oh, you should have made that instead of buying it, like you could have made it so much more authentically. But nobody listens to those people because I think true cosplayers that really enjoy it, just know that those people are full of it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I always tell those people, "Where's yours? Can you send me a reference photo of your cosplay that you made? since you know so much about this kind of cosplay."
It's quite often people that aren't cosplayers that say that.
Yeah, and you know, like especially with those kind of people as well, especially online, which is pretty because they can't see you. You know, it's a digital person, so you know that you don't know the person on the keyboard. You know, it's keyboard warriors. So you learn very quickly just to ignore them, honestly. Like when I first started out, I had a run-in with a bloke who said, "Oh, that's not right. Your hair should be blonde, not brunette." And I went, "And?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "I just want to tell you that." I went, "Great, keep walking." And, you know, and he's like, he walks away. And then you got your amazing friends who come up to you and go, "Really?" And like, you know, and yeah. So. And you're gonna get that, honestly, but you just ignore it because at the end of the day, you're having fun, you know, and who cares what they think?
That's what it's about, honestly. Just fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an adult or a teenager or whoever. I've seen even little kids cosplay. You're someone dressing up in costume for fun. Like, you do it because it's fun and you like making it or, you know, dressing as it. That's all there is to it at the end of the day. If you didn't have fun doing it, you wouldn't. So
exactly. Yeah.
Oh. No, that's a nice message from you guys.
I think we just mom and dad at the
No, it was like for me, I kind of like wanted to get into the cosplay thing, but you know, obviously it costs a lot of money and stuff. I don't have money, but just hanging out with you guys last year. Like last year, I hung out with the like speedrunners and the cosplayers, who were two brand new groups of people that I'd never hung out with before. Both like amazing groups of people, and yeah, just even like hanging out with. Yeah, I was there. I think it was like the Sunday with you guys. We're doing like the Bioshock photo. Yeah, it was just like it was just like a whole bunch of Bioshock cosplayers just taking photos together on the steps. But yeah, I hung out with you guys for a little bit and had a chat with some of the other cosplayers and took photos and videos and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty chill, especially on a Sunday. You know, you can literally just walk up and talk to people and stuff. And
Sundays are pretty much the most laziest days of the cons, basically. Especially when PAX was 3 days. Like, you know, you basically like with any other con, if it's like a 2-day weekend con, Saturdays is where you give your all, Sundays is where you chill. And normally if you want to buy something, I buy my stuff on Sunday because, you know, vendors want to get rid of their stuff so they don't have to ship it back.
Yep.
So, you know, you walk in,
ask for everything half price.
Like, you know, you walk through a vendor. I think I bought rings for Deacon. I bought a few rings for Deacon, and you know, like, and they're like, "Oh, well, they dropped the price for me." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks." Like, you know, they dropped it by like, I don't know, $10 or something.
Yeah.
But you get, you know, you walk through the con. It's crazy on a Saturday. You're dead, and everyone's like, like, you know, it's like shit. Like, honestly, when you do cosplay for a long time, it's like you're doing a shift at work. You just Hey, how you doing? Yep, how you doing? Drinking your coffees, and just before you wake up and go, all right, I'm in cosplay now. Like, so yeah, it's just, yeah, especially with Sundays, everyone's just relaxing. You don't have to stress about it. You know, it's just like, oh, good. It's been a good con. I don't want this to end, type of thing. So yeah.
No, it's awesome. Yeah, you're doing like a lot of tutorials and stuff, and recently submitted a shirt design for the GroupUp competition, which is going on, and it is a great design, and hopefully more people will be sending some in soon because yeah, we gotta this is a call out. We need more people to send in.
I don't want Zuna to win.
Yeah, don't let me win. Jeez.
Don't win.
I don't want a pity win. Gosh.
I just send it in. Make sure it looks nice.
Stick figure.
So yeah, just like, why did you get into it and stuff? I think you like started with your blob mascot or something. That's kind of like how you got into it, and then progressed from there, I think. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, no, it's kind of right. I mean, I've always been doing some kind of craft since I was little, because I guess my mum has always done some kind of craft. But when I started streaming, when I got to the stage where I was going to have emotes, I couldn't afford to get someone to do emotes for me. So I was like, what can I draw that's going to look good? And I'm like, right, I can draw a circle and I can put some eyes on it. And that's how the blob was born. But that was done just in Illustrator, and since then I've made a whole bunch more, and they've steadily gotten better, I would like to think. There's been some progression in them. And then
grown in the last 3 years now.
Yeah, it's 2 years of making blobs. You would assume my circles would get just a little bit better. But recently I brought an iPad, which is a big investment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm teaching myself how to draw on it via YouTube tutorials, because why wouldn't you use YouTube tutorials when they're there and they're free?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's going so well. I can't, take myself to do a graphic design course or something at this time because everything's chaotic. But just watching these YouTube tutorials, and they take you through step by step by step. And at the end of it, you've got a piece of art. Yes, it's not wholly yours, but you made it. And it's really satisfying to look at something and being like, I did that. Because it just proves that you can do that. Mm-hmm. And along the way, you learn all these little tips and tricks on how to do it. And then you apply it to other things. And you can make your own wholly original stuff using the techniques and the tips that you've learned online.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's just what I've been doing. And I actually, with the t-shirt design you mentioned, I took a whole bunch of tricks that I learned doing these tutorials and applied them to that.
Mhm.
And I don't think it turned out too bad. But like, guys, give me some competition. I've only been doing this for like a little while. I'm definitely not. I'm self-taught. You can do it too. I believe in you.
Yeah, that it's good to see. And yeah, Bones, have you done any kind of anything like that, or is it just more of a
Jeez, I used
more
to
of
join
just...
kid, but I'm terrible.
No, not
Started-
anymore.
He started doing something lately.
I started doing pixel art, but my OCD is kicking in so bad because one side's 2 blocks aside. You're like, no, you have to redo it. So pixel art is really interesting and it always intrigues me, especially like games like like the old school Mario games, and
Hell yeah.
especially the indie scene where a lot of people are using pixel art. So bought a program that was pretty cheap and been looking at doing it. It's been a lot of fun. It's a real learning curve, especially with shades and that. Like there's a lot into it with pixel art that you never
YouTube
thought.
tutorials.
Yeah, YouTube tutorials as well. Like honestly, like YouTube's amazing in terms of like learning stuff. Like you can learn how to play an instrument. Like I may learn how to play the drums on YouTube.
Yeah. Why go to school when you've got YouTube?
Like
legit though.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, maybe that's the future. Who knows? Watch YouTube videos on how to how to do homework.
Oh, God.
No, that's fair enough. I know. Yeah, myself doing like graphic design last year and doing a little bit of digital art here and there. It can be a little bit of a struggle to get into to start off with. Yeah, I don't even remember how I got into mine. I think it was just I think I did a little bit of pixel art at one point, but yeah, just mostly throughout my years I used to just do a lot of just like sketches and stuff in like books and on paper, and like I've got folders upon folders just like in the spare room of just like stuff that I've drawn over the years. And
So cool.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know, I'm like getting back into it. And me with my Aboriginal heritage as well, I'm trying to get into doing some Aboriginal art now as well, so trying to focus more on that as well as doing what I have been doing, like the avatar stuff and all that kind of thing. So
I do love that.
Yeah, Aboriginal art's so amazing. I remember my primary school used to show us a lot of it, especially a lot of the time, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's I don't know, just the way that they tell their stories and stuff through art has always been a bit intriguing to me. But yeah. Just wanted to get your point of view on both of them, because I know that a few of our people that we've had on previous podcasts have been more multiplayer based gamers, and some people don't see the appeal of playing like single player games. And yeah, I just wanted to get your point of view on it. I know that we kind of touched base on it a little bit last week with Twigs, but yeah, I just wanted to get
games.
get your point of view on it. So yeah.
Yeah, multiplayer like in single player games, I think I love both, honestly. Especially when it's single player games, it's pretty much people watching your journey with this game sort of thing. Like especially games like Last of Us, you experiencing
big game
that.
of the moment.
The big game, the new one as well, especially like people are intrigued on what people think of games when they're playing single players, like first time playing them. But the only con to it is just that game can be very short. Single player stories can tend to be short. But if you play like RPGs like The Witcher, Cyberpunk, which is coming out, that's gonna be a big one. People are gonna what's that?
Which got delayed again.
CG Project Red, but I respect them. They've been doing really good with their RPGs, and so with those games, they go for a long period of time. So that's another thing that point through to different sides. But the only downside, especially with some story player games, once you finish it, you can't really go back and replay it, because people will be like, "Oh, we've seen you, stream this game before," like, yeah, why are you going to stream it again? So
unless you decide to do some kind of hardcore variant or something along those lines.
Yeah, some single player games now, I feel like have different pathways. Like if you have to choose something, you can definitely go down, different paths. I know in The Witcher, I believe Yuzuna finished it and got the good ending, whereas me, I got the bad ending. Where, spoiler alert, if you haven't played Witcher 3, tune out now. I got the bad ending and Ciri didn't come back, so...
I actually got the worst ending. This super worst ending by accident.
What's that one?
I had everyone there helping me. Everyone was happy. It was great.
I was watching your stream and I was like, I don't want to spoil it to her, but I kind of want to help her in the right direction.
I didn't even know that there was more than one ending. I thought that's how it ended. And then I saw Zuna's ending and I was like, hold on a second, what?
Did you feel cheated? You were like, what?
Yeah.
I get this.
I was like, Geralt just went back to the crones and killed them just to get her amulet back or something in mine. Like,
yeah, mine actually, Geralt died because he didn't kill them all. And, when he retrieves it and he just ends up standing there sad. And he just lies there on the ground, and all these monsters start crawling in. I
think that's what I got as well. Yeah.
That's the worst ending you can get in The Witcher.
Why would you get that ending, guys? What did you do?
I don't know.
The last 3 hours are the key, everyone. Just letting you know. The last 3 hours are key to it. And the thing is, you don't feel like you're getting the bad ending because you feel like, oh, okay, I'm doing something nice to Ciri. But no. Those last 3 hours are key to it, and I got
to be your own woman, okay?
But yeah.
Also, while we're on the topic of Witcher 3, do you think that there is going to be a reference in Cyberpunk about Ciri teleporting in there?
There's gonna
for sure.
Because we got a little.
If there wasn't.
Yeah, we got a little reference in The Witcher 3 about the Cyberpunk world with flying cars and whatnot. So yeah, I just wanted to put that in.
Definitely gonna have in there. It's I've seen CD Projekt Red add Assassin's Creed references in The Witcher 2. In the very first prologue, you actually are in a massive battle and you see a haystack and a dead body with a guy with a white cloak, and he goes and Geralt just looks at it and just laughs, guess that didn't break his fall. And to Assassin's Creed where you just jump through hay bales all the time. Well, that would break your spine. You would be so different than that. So CD Projekt Red has done that in the past with Easter eggs. So I wouldn't be surprised that they have put in a few Witcher Easter eggs. Like people are doing like Witcher themed cosplays in Cyberpunk world, like themes which are amazing. So they gotta.
Yeah.
But back to the multiplayer and single player games on stream. I'm conflicted and I'm on two sides of the coin. I enjoy both, but both definitely have their pros and their cons.
Definitely.
I tend to prefer more towards the single player games, just because I like to get really immersed in the story, and also I feel like I'm better able to keep up conversation with chat when it's just me playing the game, because I can always just pause it. It's only me. It's inconveniencing. Everyone in chat's generally cool and accepting of pausing the game to catch up and explore deeper topics. And I think it's good.
It's also great. Breaks whenever you want to as well.
Yeah.
It goes back to like the parents wanting you, and then you can't pause like a multiplayer game. They just don't understand.
And I'm like.
But then again, the downside to single player games is, as you said earlier, is that some of them can be really short and it can last only a stream or two before you've got to find something else. Or maybe you're in a bit of a slow section of the game, or maybe chat's a bit slow and it just kind of starts to feel like it's dragging a little. It's maybe not as entertaining. So that's kind of the downside to me.
And also spoilers as well. People tend to
spoilers with brand new story-based games.
Yeah, I've been watching Twigs play The Last of Us 2, and somebody came in. This was after what happened in the game, so I don't know if you guys have played The Last of Us 2 yet. I don't want to like spoil anything, but
I'm about to start playing it right now.
Okay.
I got it installed. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna have like a day off where I can just go
Okay, well,
But basically,
alright,
something.
I won't spoil it then. But yeah,
Yeah.
so the person came in and tried to spoil something drastic that happened, and then fortunately Twigs had already passed that part, so Twigs was like, "Oh well, you know, that's no spoiler. Like we've already done that, mate," and then just banned him. It's like, get out of
Dude,
here.
bye.
Or people will say fake spoilers, like something that doesn't actually happen, but they're like, "Oh, you know, this guy dies later," when like
Yeah.
that guy never dies.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And it's also a new thing where people change their usernames to the spoils as well. So when you get a follow notification, you
I
look
haven't
across
seen that
and
one.
Oh,
it's bad. I've had a
Oh.
few times, like especially playing older games. I don't tend to play like new single player games because I just don't like games being spoiled. Also, I'm very quiet because I want to be immersed in the game.
Yeah.
So if I play an old game that I've been playing for years, someone comes in and follows you and has the spoiler, and I go, mate, really? I played this game before, so nice try. And you get that every now and again, which is pretty sad. But that's another con to single player games as well. But each their own. I think we should do some multiplayer. The multiplayer.
Yeah. So yeah, the multiplayer side.
Multiplayer.
Yeah, I like multiplayer, but the only downside with multiplayer is especially when you're playing like games with TeamSpeak, especially like if you're playing solo yourself and not have friends.
Yeah, it depends if you're playing multiplayer with friends or multiplayer with strangers, because they're very different.
Yeah, especially with open comms and trolls and people. People say bad things. People do bad things on the the game. Hackers is more like even worse and stuff like that. You get your bad, especially like games like really salty games like sometimes Siege, CS:GO, all those kind of big popular multiplayer games. But if you're playing with friends, it's fine, like but you still have to be worried about like people from the other team who are might be salty from the last match. They might discover you, oh, you're a streamer, go on your stream, and then that starts. So it's so it's kind of like you have to be ease of mind, like you have to be make sure like, oh, okay, you can have these kind of people trolls in the stream and that.
Yeah. So yeah, I suppose that like for me, playing the multiplayer games, ever since I was able to play multiplayer games, I pretty much played multiplayer games like non-stop. Like I think the first one that I played was CS:GO. Like I also played, like the Age of Empires and stuff, but that didn't really have the the actual talking. Whereas CS:GO was like the first one that had voice chats in the game and all that kind of stuff. So for me, CS:GO, I got you get the good and the bad, and that's like with that's like with every game, but yeah, over the years that I played CS:GO, and I think I got my 5-year badge for that either this year or late last year. So let's not talk about it. But 2,000 hours later, But yeah, over the years, I've made a lot of great friends who are, in the GroupUp community, and ones that aren't, but I still talk to and on every so often. But yeah, obviously you get that bad side as well, where people are talking shit, or I know when I first started playing CS:GO, they still had the halftime in competitive matches where you could talk to the other team during voice chat. So like halfway through when it was and you could just like shit talk the other team. It's just like you couldn't hear anything because it was just like a bunch. There was 10 people just swearing at each other,
screaming at each other.
Man, that brings me back to Call of Duty days. Like for me, I'm a Call of Duty guy. I play multiplayer, so I didn't grow up playing CS:GO. I didn't have computers, but I had console gaming.
Yep.
So like Call of Duty was like the first time I played like proper multiplayer. Like I was really good at it. But yeah, just smash talking. Hardcore servers. Open comm lobbies. Yeah, I do miss those days, but honestly, really messed up stuff that happened on those lobbies. Honestly, the potato microphones of the days that the $20 ones that everyone could afford. You watch YouTube videos of that stuff that happened 10 years ago. You're like, how did we understand?
You mean you don't love hearing TVs in the background over stuff?
Yeah, music. People screaming.
Jenny! Jenny's ready!
That still happens to this day.
But yeah, like I don't know. We'll just touch base on this like real quick. Is that obviously you guys know about the Twitch person who recently, didn't want voice chat in games or something like that. I didn't go too much into it, but apparently they didn't want it because it was, of toxic behavior and, and another reason for some reason. But like obviously you have that option there to mute people and stuff. So I don't know. That was kind of a weird take on things, but
yeah, it definitely was. It was an interesting video that everyone had. Everyone got a lot of people talking on Twitter about that one.
Yeah, but yeah, like the option there is obviously like you're able to mute that person, but we'll go like onto the next point was that about like online harassment and bullying. So that kind of ties in with what we were just talking about. Obviously, with like video games and stuff, you may be able to mute them, but I don't know. Sometimes things progress and people can start stalking you on like other social medias and sending you like hateful messages and stuff on there as well. I don't know if you guys have any stories that you want to bring up, or just in general, just like talk about it. It's up to you guys.
I got a story, and it was years ago. So yeah, like I've been through that kind of stuff, especially with people being toxic and messaging and people stalking you and like finding out like places where you've been and that, and like knowing family names and mentioning them and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like that stuff it's scary. It can be scary because you don't know the person, simply.
It can be really confronting.
Oh yeah, and it is. And like I remember back in 360 days, I was playing it was COD Black Ops 2. That just came out, I was playing hardcore with my mates and that, all mucking around, and I was going the opposite team. When you die, you get to hear what the other guy's saying on the opposite team. One guy was talking smack, being young, 15, talk smack back to him, and then next he says some pretty messed up stuff, mute him, ignore him, basically, if it gets too much, mute him.
Mm-hmm.
And he, messages you, DMing you and all that kind of stuff. You're like, you try to, then you block him, and then next you check your computer and you got 25 Facebook messages of some randos saying, I know who you are and that, and they were able to find your profile, and then they found your email address, and they cross-messaged your email address, and they found that, and yada yada yada. And it can be confronting. Like, it was scary, it was shocking. I didn't tell my parents, but I wish I did at the time, but because I didn't want to lose my Xbox, because my parents were like, nah, that's it, away from the internet. But that's scary, it's very confronting. And report the profile, blocked it. I stayed away from Xbox for like at least a week. My parents were like, you're not on it. And I'm like, no, I just can't be bothered. But and then you come back on and everything's back to normal, But it's scary. It really is, especially with harassment and all that kind of stuff. Even cosplaying as well. Like, you get hate messages for just being you, and it's just, I had DM guys saying my cosplays look terrible and that, and like I didn't care, but he'll message me constantly, and it's like, it's the internet, people will be going, go too far, it's just, it can be scary, but
it's safe behind the screen.
So I just want to go back to how you were talking about like your Xbox days and stuff, and that person getting all your details and stuff, and then you saying that you were afraid of telling your parents at the time. Do you feel that in today's lifestyle, how like everything's, a lot more kids have the ability to play games and like play them online and all that kind of stuff, do you feel that parents should have an understanding that this thing could happen, and that the children, if it does happen, should feel safe to come out to the parents and talk to them about it if it does happen, instead of in your case where you were afraid to talk to your parents?
And that was just basically fear of like not being going to Xbox anymore because my parents wouldn't understand, so
they think it was somehow, your fault, or it was too dangerous for you to be there anymore.
It's too dangerous, he found who you are, all that kind of stuff. But like, now understand the internet more, telling my parents about this stuff because being older, being an adult now, especially if I ever plan to have kids, I'm gonna tell them like, look, there's some pretty scary people on the internet. Let me know, that kind of stuff because like especially the older generation, they don't know a lot about the internet. Like especially my parents who are getting into telling them about Twitch, telling them about trolls and that and all that kind of stuff. My parents are like, wow, I never knew that. And then tell them, oh, I had a scary person situation. And they go, why didn't you tell us? It's like, I was scared. And they go, okay, well, now we know what the internet's like. We wouldn't have been so hard on you. So, and that's the thing as well. It's just basically, especially if I have kids, I'm going to, not show them, but tell them, like, look,
yeah.
on the internet. Even like parental locking as well. That is awesome as well. I had a parental lock feature on my Xbox for a couple of years. After that situation, my elder sister was like, I was able to tell my elder sister a bit, and she put a parental lock on my console. And what it was that I couldn't message anyone, or no one can message me, like friend of a friend. That couldn't happen.
Yeah.
The only time I could chat to someone on Xbox Live Party Chat is if I added them on Xbox and they added me on Xbox. That was the only time they could hear my voice in that. And that was a feature I had for a couple of years until, I came 17 and, I was on the internet a lot longer. I knew I was a little more wiser.
Yeah.
So those kind of important things to know. Is knowing how to report accounts, how to block accounts, how to do a couple basic things like that. It sounds stupid, but a lot of the times, if you didn't know how to do that, you're just going to keep receiving this harassment. You need to be able to know how to report them, how to block them, and just to keep yourself safe. And I feel like if parents knew how to do that, or at least were able to show their kids how to do that, it would help a lot in the long run.
Yeah. So that's more of like the gaming side of things, I suppose. It's just block them and move on and whatnot. And I know that a couple of people that I've talked to, about like online harassment and all that kind of stuff, they're just like, oh, no, it's easy. All you have to do is just block them, and then they're not there anymore. But it's really not that simple when it comes down to it, especially when it's I suppose it's kind of that easy when it's like online gaming and stuff and they're just like swearing at you and whatnot. But if it goes into like your social medias, or if it's like, especially if it's a school thing where you're getting bullied by other school members, it's really not that easy just to block them out. I know that in my school, especially a lot of the girls were doing a lot of online bullying and stuff, and a few of them actually left the school because of it, and the school really didn't do much about it. They kind of just talked about it every now and again in like at the end of a school assembly or something about how to
don't bully
how to deal with it, and not to bully each other online and all that kind of stuff. But it didn't really do anything. So
is when some people who moved high school, the bullies have friends who probably go to that same school that person goes, and then it starts again. So lucky for me, I didn't get that online bullying in high school because like I only added my friends. Like that was the only people who I added. So whoever they were, like I had bullies, like I wouldn't hear from them because they didn't have me. They didn't message me. Yeah, they would make fun of me for not adding them, but it was like because you make fun of me.
Yeah.
Especially with teenagers as well, where we're very vulnerable. We're going through stuff. We're learning a little bit about ourselves. We're going through so much stuff, especially in high school, what we want to do with our lives and all that kind of stuff. And then bullying on top of things, it just sucks. It really does. And yeah, like now thinking, thank goodness I'm not in high school anymore. Like now, especially nowadays with the internet being more prominent with everything.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and they still don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
No.
Honestly, they don't.
Schools don't really know how to handle it. And that's the one thing. Like I remember we had a internet safety expert who was an ex-police officer, and she was a meme. Like all of us were making fun of her. Like there was YouTubers who were making fun of her because she knew nothing about the internet. And she'll go, don't add them, just block them. Block them. And everyone's like, I know this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like even the kids who are getting bullied know this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just because they won't understand. So
yeah.
especially the internet as well. It's just, it just gets worse and worse. You know? Yeah, like even like kids who are getting younger, like especially I've heard stories where 10-year-olds are getting bullied.
Kids in primary school with phones that have internet access and stuff. I couldn't imagine having like
I don't
like a touchscreen phone in primary school. I'm like,
no. Back then I had my flip phone that had, good old Snake, Tetris.
Got my little Nokia brick when I got to high school. That was like you're in high school now, you have a phone so you can call me.
Yeah.
I think,
I used to like how to use them, like how to answer phones. Those were the days I miss them.
Still have my Motorola flip somewhere, my Razr.
But so yeah, going back to like the issue of harassment and stuff, like you guys said, especially with like in schooling and stuff, they still don't know how to deal with it, and it's, I don't know, it's a bit of a problem. Like obviously, a lot of the older generation don't know how to deal with this kind of thing because they think it's bullying is like a face-to-face kind of thing. That's that's how they were brought up.
Physical thing.
Yeah, a physical thing. They that's how they were kind of brought up. They weren't brought up around the ability to have like online messages and stuff, and obviously
you essentially stalk someone.
Yeah, exactly.
With a couple of button presses.
Yeah. And the thing is that the messages are literally always going to be there, and that's kind of like what my school kind of like taught us, that if you do online bullying, it's always going to be there, and like you're always going to have a digital footprint and all this kind of stuff, which tried to scare them, but no, it still didn't really work. But the message there is that your messages are always still going to be there, and even with like the police and stuff, with harassment, I know that some people have taken, especially if you get harassed by people who, stalk your address and your name and all that kind of stuff, you definitely need to screenshot that kind of stuff, I believe. And get all that information and keep it. But even taking it to the police sometimes, they don't even know what to do at the moment. They just like, well, we can't really do anything,
it's
kind of thing.
Yeah, part of it is that just unfortunately it happens quite a bit, and there's too much for them to handle. It comes down to, really, they can't deal with every single little case that comes up when, and this sounds a horrible way of doing it, there's more important things they could be doing, which is a brutal way of putting it, but it's how it's seen. At the end of the day, it's like, oh, this person's just sending you some mean words via the internet, whereas there's people out there that are being, run over and shot, like priorities. But it sucks. And I'm not comparing, online bullying to murder, but I'm not saying it isn't any less serious, and it definitely needs to be treated seriously, especially if it's gotten to the point where addresses and family members and things like this are being brought up and used against you.
And even people, especially teenagers, who you said earlier, are still experiencing life and trying to gather where they are and what kind of future they want to do and all that kind of stuff. They're trying to figure out who they are at the moment. Are actually committing suicide over these kind of things, So it is obviously a major issue, and it's obviously brought up in the news and all that kind of stuff. I see it occasionally and on social media, but obviously it is just, there's no real way of dealing with that kind of thing at the moment, and I don't know, do you guys have any suggestions or ideas on like how schools, parents, maybe even the police can kind of like deal with this kind of thing, especially when it's just in future years it's just going to be easier and easier to get to do this kind of thing, like get a phone, and literally within, like you said, a couple of clicks you can literally know somebody's details, as simple as that.
Like especially in my state right now, I don't know if it's for every state, but this Victorian police have a task force that deals with online stuff. But like you can send their details through there, but they have to. It takes so long. like you can actually use as like if you actually can use a lot of information as well. I've heard kids who've been harassed for like 4 years, and they've been through so much, and they've actually been categorizing all this stuff.
Keep receipts.
Yeah.
Screenshot everything. Keep receipts. Keep it organized. That'd be probably my number one tip out of everything. Even before blocking and all that, keep receipts.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like that's all you're going to have is to prove that someone has been harassing you.
Yeah.
And you can use that in a court as well, because that's information as well, because it's deemed as harassment. I've heard stories.
Keep receipts with dates and times in them. I think that is one of the most important things. Don't cut down everything to just the message. That isn't going to help.
Yeah. Make sure you have in details, the dates, the people who've done it, and all that kind of stuff. Even like,
and talk to the people around you. Talk to your family if you can. Talk to your friends. And this is going to seem kind of like an oxymoron. Find some forums on the internet about people who have gone through the same things and get help and tips from them as well.
There's so many forums. There's
it sounds kind of like a 22 to go to the internet to save you from the internet, but it's also where you're just going to find a lot of really good information about it, because unfortunately there's been a lot of people that have been through it and they'll know the processes and what to do. But
there's also phone numbers as well, but sometimes they're not really that helpful depending on like the situation of things. There's people that you can call, like 24-hour numbers you can call if you not really want to talk to your family and that. Like even like sometimes even like talking to a person on the phone sometimes even help. Like even if you don't want to talk to a friend because you feel like it's too private, and even as well as family as well, if it's too embarrassing, you can always contact a number and they can always like point you in the right direction and like actually help you. There's places like that. But but in terms of like the future and like what we can do to prevent it, it's just it's a difficult thing really, because kids with internet and all that kind of stuff.
It's not even just kids, let's be honest.
People as well. It's just you can't, it's a little bit dumb to say, but be safe in that, but you can't, because like you get messages from people saying, oh, we know who you are, we know where you live, and all that kind of stuff, and that's very confronting. And especially like with online scams and bullying and then harassment as well, it freaks it, like
I shouldn't laugh, but in kind of related to this, I got a beautiful email literally the other day, and it was like, Zara, are you in place I used to live? Like almost 10 years ago now, so I'm not really concerned. I'm like, all right, play along. I was just like, who is this? Question mark. Got a reply back being like, hi, we should hook up. Here's a site with my photos. And I just decided to play along at this point. And I was like, oh my God, we totally should. But what is my boyfriend going to do? And she was like, please go to the site. If my boyfriend can see these emails, he will kill me. And I was like, we should sue him because he's definitely having an affair with my boyfriend. And the reply back was like, please, you need to go to this website to contact me and look at my photos because my boyfriend will fuck me instead of kill me. And I was like,
so I don't know, it's kind of like one of those bot kind of things as well. I get those messages on like, I'll be honest, I get those kind of messages on like dating sites and stuff. It's just like,
hilarious.
You gotta go to this website to talk to me and all that kind of stuff. It's like, no.
Hey, just add me.
I'm not clicking that link.
Yeah.
Click this link. It's better to talk with. Like, I'm talking to you right now. Like, what?
A lot of being safe on the internet is using common sense. Don't click on anything you think is suspicious. Update your fucking passwords and don't use the same password for everything like an idiot. And if it's got like 2-factor authentication, do it. If you can't memorize all these passwords or numbers or whatever, get a notebook, write it down, hide it somewhere, or put it somewhere only you know where it is.
That's what I do. I've got a notebook.
I mean, look how many books I've got behind me. Who is going to find my password book in amongst all that?
That one.
That one.
I can see it from here.
Yeah, and especially if you're a kid, make sure your parents know what you're doing on the internet and like, just talk to people.
Yeah.
Talk to people, like, especially talking.
And keep receipts. with dates and times.
Keep them.
Yeah.
Not cropped in screenshots. I want full screen caps of that. I don't care what else is on the screen.
There's I remember this was actually in high school when this kind of stuff was getting worse and worse and worse. This kid was getting bullied and no one knew that he was getting online bullied because, you know, bullying, you think, oh, it's just in school, but no, it can actually continue on in the internet as well. So like you think, oh, finally I'm away from that, I can escape, you know, play video games. Nope, you're online, and then boom, 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 it just brings that up, which sucks. This person was smart and kept all the receipts, and this was like an ongoing thing for years, like ridiculously. And what this person did was contacted the police and actually got a lawyer, and literally the bully got expelled. His friends got expelled as well.
And honestly, so they should have.
Yeah, and
if you think you can hide behind a screen while you treat people like trash, I'm sorry. Like, you deserve whatever comes at you.
Yeah,
they even got
but
fined as well.
yeah, I was gonna say, was that like literally all that happened? Like getting, you know, getting expelled from school isn't all that great of a thing, because they can go to another school, and at the end of the day, they can still continue bullying you on social media and bully, you know, somebody else at the next school.
Yeah, but these kids knew not to like do it anymore because they got caught.
They're
like,
yeah.
Oh,
especially getting fines and shit.
Yeah,
like,
I feel
parents wouldn't have been happy with that.
Oh no, they weren't. They actually, I think the parents got fined because they were still minors at the time, so the parents end up having the fines. So, and I was like, wow, good on you, mate. Like, yeah. So, trust me, keep those receipts. Okay?
Yeah, I know a lot of people these days, especially on social media, are just like posting about like their online harassment and stuff. Like if some idiots just like sent them a message or whatever, especially in like video games and whatnot, they literally they bring it out into the open. It's not like a thing where people should feel closed off about it now. Is that these people, I feel like are more, I don't know, in a way they're like role models, where they're just like, you know, you shouldn't have to, you know, feel bad about this. Like, show it off to people. You know, show it off to, like you said, that kid went to a lawyer and all that kind of stuff. You know, show it off to your parents. Just, you know, talk about it, because it is a major problem, and it needs to be addressed. And especially with, you know, big influencers and stuff. I literally just saw one this morning, actually, of a girl playing Valorant, and she was getting harassed by a dude on there saying some weird shit, and she posted a video online, and literally like hundreds and thousands of likes and comments and all that kind of stuff, saying like, this dude's an idiot. And then people in the comments were like, I feel like it's kind of good but kind of bad, because people were like starting to stalk this person, and then I feel like then they're like starting to bully that person, so it's kind of just like a, you know, a roll on to what was actually happening. So
like swaps.
Yeah, so I don't know, there kind of has to be like a in between kind of thing where you know, that person still has to suffer consequences, but they shouldn't be bullied back. You know, kind of thing.
Don't bring yourself to that level, essentially. I think it's good to bring it out in the open. I think that's a great thing to do. But it's definitely kind of becomes a not so great thing when all of a sudden the person who is harassing is now being harassed by like 10 times the amount of people. Like, that is not the right thing. It's kind of those people falling to the original harasser's level, and it's just, it doesn't help anyone.
Yeah. I know that, I think we've kind of had a couple of incidents in that with some of the OCE communities on Twitch. I don't know if you've heard about that, but I think it was like a year or so ago that a couple of things popped up, and some people kind of disappeared after that. So, but so we've been going for way over the scheduled time, but that's fine.
You're welcome. Two-parter.
Tangent for hours, you know.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's up to you guys if you want to continue talking. My internet might just like stuff up a little bit because the parents might start going back on the internet. But yeah, that's fine. But
is there anything we haven't hit that you really wanted to bring up tonight?
Not really, to be honest. That was kind of like the last thing. So it's up to you guys if you want to just ramble on about.
One thing I
topics.
do want to bring up is still about all the harassment stuff. Is why does being a female gamer still seem like such a point of contentment to a lot of people?
Because you're a prize to some people.
I don't get it. I don't. I think it's so stupid.
It is so stupid.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I kind of see the point of where people are coming from with that. Like, you know, there's creepy dudes on the internet and stuff. Like I said with that video, that dude was being creepy to that girl and she posted it online. But at the end of the day, both male and female and whatever other, you know, thing you are, attack helicopter, other genders and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter who you are, you're still probably gonna get bullied online.
Oh yeah.
Like through Counter-Strike, I got bullied like all the time. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. Like obviously some things are gonna be more specific. If you're a female, they're gonna, you know, be a little bit more creepy about things.
The
but
sexual kind of comments.
that kind of thing. Whereas like if
names,
dear
sweetheart. I'm sorry, sir. I don't know you. I'm definitely not your sweetheart.
I don't like that.
I think that's just a personal pet peeve of mine, to be honest, though. But it's like if you walked up to someone you didn't know in real life and you're like, oh, honey dearest, how are you doing? Like, cool. Yeah. I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
I think like, especially like with, you know, sexual messages, I find that, you know, guys don't tend to get that more, so I find that even more creepier. With
it definitely still happens to guys.
It still happens to guys, yeah. But like, I always find out like friends who are female who play games, they get it a lot more, especially like game, like, you know, especially like with friends, when you're playing multiplayer games with friends and they find out they're a girl, and it just and it starts, you know, and it's just like.
I find on Twitch specifically, you'll get like a troll. I get at least like 1 or 2 trolls a night, generally, as an average, who will come in and say something stupid. Only occasionally is it sexual and creepy. What I find, though, is that after a stream, after I've finished and after I'm just checking things and making sure everything's shut down, I'll see that I've got a whisper. And then I'll open it up in Twitch, and it'll be like some creepy message like, I'll give you $100 if you do a private show for me, or something like this. And it's like, I mean, like, I'm flattered, but it's not exactly what Twitch is for. So yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah.
I can't even make fun of it on stream if it happens off stream, which is generally what I tend to do on stream.
Yeah.
Like usernames, those famous ice.
Oh yeah, those ones. Yeah, they're
the bird
I
names,
have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, no, never.
Original, you know, usernames that, you know, every streamer just goes, oh yeah, that's very original.
As soon as you see it, you're like, this is a big brain human. You know, they like use all of their intelligence to come up with that username. They're so proud of it. Yeah, you know, and all you have to do to shut them down is be like, hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah. Just say,
all
like,
their thunder is gone.
It's like, thanks for the follow, mate. Cheers.
Yeah,
just, you know,
I've had like some streamers who are just like so chill out, and that, you know, they get troll names like that, but they like laugh at it and, you know, have fun with it and all that kind of stuff. And then that person starts talking in chat, and then all of a sudden they log into their other account and then follow, and then all of a sudden you've got like a new best mate in your stream. It's just like, you know, they came in to try and troll you. All of a sudden they're your best mate.
So. It's so great. Some of them you can play along with so well, and it's just, it's fun.
I don't know. It's pretty odd, but yeah.
If he's so well known for this horrible behavior and everything, how come something hasn't been done to like an ISP ban him or something?
I don't know. Like the thing is that he only
something they could do.
Yeah, like I don't know. The problem with CS:GO I find is that they don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
Especially if you're only playing casual, they don't really care about voice. They don't really care about voice chat. They don't care if you're cheating in casual. They only really care about competitive matches, like if somebody's cheating in there, or if somebody's like really bad with,
they should
you know,
care,
their
though,
language.
because if this guy does end up going to court, like if I can shoot for this horrible behaviour, it can potentially drag their game through the dirt. You know, because it's been happening on their platform, so they should care. I don't care if it's casual or competitive. You know, if it's so well known that like CS:GO players are just aware of this fact.
Yeah.
Like they should be aware of this fact as well and should be doing something about it.
Yeah.
And then that goes back to that: keep receipts, keep evidence. You know, and even recording. Like, you've known if he's like this kind of person, you need to have that evidence to do it. Otherwise, you can't really, you know, keep. Because he would just keep making accounts.
Sorry. It's just...
just this is slide turn of the camera.
Yeah.
And then your dad is
someone's coming in.
Reflection.
He doesn't like me on the camera. So
hey,
that's another thing about me streaming.
Reflection. How are you doing?
Yeah.
It just seemed just... Oh my god.
GroupUp podcast, Dad. I told you before. What? Was that on TV? Yeah. And that's another thing as well, streaming as well. My dad's always in the background. He's like a co-host.
Hell yeah.
I love it.
So good.
Co-host. Yeah. But yeah, that's the topic on hand.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. They need to record, and especially, and that's the thing as well, online and video games as well. You need to record this stuff as well, because if everyone can get evidence saying that this person's doing this, you can use it, and, you know. Or
even if you can't get a recording of it because you just don't have that set up, but you're playing with multiple people and they also hear and see what's going on, just get them to write like a quick little summary, a synopsis of what happened. You know, every little bit counts. And if you write it down yourself as well, you're not going to forget things or mess up little facts, because you forget dates and times or little bits of details and everything. So, you know, make your own receipts.
Yeah, I feel like definitely if you're playing online games, like, I don't know, it's probably easier if you're a streamer, like you've obviously got like the VODs and stuff to fall back on and can cut things out. But if you're just playing games, I feel like especially if you're on PC, you should definitely have like OBS or XSplit downloaded and just open in the background with like the game capture on, and then if you know, you don't even have to be recording at that point. Like, it's just if something does pop up, just click that record button. Yeah.
There you go.
And NVIDIA has this thing where they can actually record your matches as well, without even having to, like, you just log in and it's like a background thing. They used to do it with PUBG, where if you got a certain kill, they would record the last 4 minutes of your match. So they even highlight the whole match, and then you can actually save it as well. So even like have a program like that or whatever driver that can do that as well. I don't know if CS:GO has like a theater mode where they can actually watch, you know, the previous matches. Like,
it's only like competitive, I think.
Yeah, like I know Call of Duty has that, especially with like the old CODs used to have that. So if you had a hacker, you know, you could literally go to their point of view and actually see them activating all their hacks. Yeah. So you had all that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's just
see the mad hacks,
which are not. They're dumb.
But yeah. Like building a case and stuff for that kind of thing is definitely hard. And yeah, I don't know, like I've heard stories of, you know, people having receipts and all that kind of stuff and just going to the police and them being like, well, you know, we can't really do anything, and essentially you just turned around and, you know, all that,
it can be really disheartening.
All that harassment and stuff that you've had online, it's just like, well, what am I gonna do now?
Even having like groups of people as well, like who have experience with that individual as well. Like, even though you feel like you're the only one there, sometimes actually you'll find out there's someone else, you know, who's been doing the same thing, and then, you know, you get a group of people, and then, you know, you get all these people who have this evidence, and then they will listen as well. I forgot who it was, but it was on YouTube. It was all over YouTube. And this person had all this information about this person who was a pedophile, and, you know, and no one listened to this person. And next, you know, they went on a forum, and mentioned this one person, saying this person, they didn't write down their real name. Next thing you know, that person got an influx of like 30 messages, 50 messages saying, I was the same as you. This is my name. This is who I am. Call me. And they had a case. They had a full-on case. And they had all these people who stepped up and went, we've been through this. But yeah, and that's when you get lucky, when you get all those group of people who join in on that. But
it's just kind of unfortunate that you have to find your own help in a way. You shouldn't have to, jump through hoops and, scour the edges to find help. It should just be there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it isn't most times.
Yeah, but I don't know. At the end of the day, the internet is both good and bad. Like, obviously, you're gonna get a mix of both. That's the same with life. With people in general. But yeah, I don't know. We kind of we kind of covered the bad side of things, and made the internet look really bad, but it's not really that bad.
Well, I wouldn't know either of you two lovely gentlemen if it wasn't for the internet. Exactly. I wouldn't know a lot of people I consider dear and close friends to me now if it wasn't for the internet.
Exactly.
And that's the one thing I always tell people, like, the internet is also an amazing thing and also can be a bad thing. Like, I've met some truly amazing individuals from like streaming, cosplaying, like people from online. I have friends who are all over the world that like a socially awkward person that I used to be in high school, who had friends, and I drifted apart from them because I've grown up being showing me properly, growing up, and now meeting all these amazing people online, going to cons, meeting up with them, and all that kind of stuff. And that's one thing I loved about the internet as well, doing meetups as well, like, and doing projects and that. So yeah, especially like the GroupUp community as well. Like, that's the one amazing thing about the internet as well. It's also the GroupUp community. Joining communities. Little plug in the community right there.
The internet and the people I met on the internet, the friends that I made via the internet and via Twitch and via cosplay and everything, they helped me so much when I was going through the recovery from my surgeries. And this was during a time when I couldn't even really be on the internet much. I couldn't game, I couldn't stream because I wasn't allowed to sit up for longer than 20 minutes at a time. So I spent most of my time reading or watching movies or on my phone, on Discord, chatting to the friends that I'd made on the internet. And that's how I kept myself entertained for literal months when I couldn't really do anything, And if I didn't have those friends that I'd made on the internet, I'd have been a little more lost, and I reckon a lot more lonely during my recovery.
Yeah.
So you gotta take the bad with the good and do what you can to help prevent the bad and help other people when they're in the bad, and just show people the good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You definitely have to speak out, I think. Especially if you see somebody bullying somebody else in a video game or online.
Don't let it slide.
Yeah, don't let it slide. It's literally like if you're in life and you see somebody harassing somebody on the street, like, are you just gonna, like, I know a lot of people are just gonna stand there and they don't want to get involved because
it's not right
thing, but really with online there's no excuse not to get involved. Like, you have to speak up about this thing and try to stop it, And obviously you're gonna get those trolls that are just like, oh, you're a white knight, or you're a simp and all this kind of shit, like. But
those mean nothing, mate.
I hate those terms because I feel like it devalues what being a good person on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, I would much rather be a white knight or a simp or some other stupid name than a fucking troll shit person that no one likes.
Bad little person.
And at the end of the day, the white knight always saves the damsel in distress. So, like, why wouldn't you want to be the white knight?
But there was definitely that good and bad. Excuse me. On the internet, and especially with our generation being pretty much the first generation to be brought into the internet, really.
Yeah.
Because you know we were pretty much we were born in the internet. We were molded by it. But you know, back then we had, you know, the dial-up internet, and it's, you know, you're just like, please don't call me, otherwise the internet will go off.
Dial-up internet. We had a brick computer and you used to plug it in our old house, and you just hear the tone.
Yeah. So it is obviously like a new thing to the human race. Like, it's only been around for what, like 20 years or so,
which is nothing.
Yeah, it's literally nothing.
It's like a blink of an eye in the human's history, which means like it's exciting to see where it goes, like truly exciting to see where the internet and technology is going to go, especially
Just
the gaming of
cat memes,
the future of gaming. But at the same time, it's also kind of scary. It feels like in the last 20 years, especially, it's just snowballed at such a pace. You know, we went from huge brick phones to like phones that were essentially computers. Computers used to take up a whole room. Now, you know, it's the size of a book for laptops.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's hard to keep on top of it sometimes, and that's why it's especially harder for the older generation to keep on top of it. I struggle sometimes. I'm like, I built my own damn computer. Like, so it's exciting and scary to see where it's gonna go, but I look forward to it.
I think David Bowie said it best about the internet. He said it in the late great David Bowie. He said it in an interview back in the late 90s, saying that, like, someone asked, "Well, what's your thoughts on the internet?" He goes, the internet is going to be a beast one day, and he goes, it's going to be an animal. It's going to be a thing. It's not a thing to kick to point to point. It's its own universe sort of thing. He said it was going to be
a world within a world.
It's its own world, its own universe. And he goes, and we will never understand it, but the next generation will understand it. And he said it perfectly. And
we still don't understand it ourselves.
That's the thing. We don't understand it.
Nobody can nobody can control it.
Yeah. So it's, like, you know, next generation will know more about the internet than us, you know. So
we don't understand it, and yet we'd be so lost without it.
Oh my god, yeah. I can't say how much, like, the internet saved my big school projects, you know. But you know,
sure.
It's just,
libraries? What are those?
Yeah, what are those?
Gosh. Ignore all of this.
But I feel like us being like the first like generation being brought up into the internet, like it is going to be a learning curve for a lot of people, and I feel like we are pretty much, because we understand gaming and the internet and technology a lot more than like older generations and stuff, and the generations below us are gonna, you know, find it a lot easier as well. But we have to pretty much be the guide towards, you know, what the internet really can be like. And like, obviously you've got all this crazy drama with like YouTubers and all that kind of crap going on. Like, you know, you're an influencer. Like, why are you causing this kind of petty drama, like the H3 and Keemstar stuff that recently just came out? Like, if it's so bad, take it to the police. Like, you're only doing it for clicks and views. Like, you know, like, don't
my car. What do I do?
Don't like, bring this into videos, and don't make this like a thing that, I don't know, like I kind of just get sick of all that drama stuff.
I feel that.
And it's just like, you have to stop. You just got to stop that, otherwise there is going to be another generation where they're just going to cause petty drama just for the sake of it. And there is literally no point for it, because at the end of the day, you're just going to hurt somebody. And yeah, worst case scenario is that person won't be alive anymore because of that petty drama, or, you know, you don't really want to do that.
No, you really don't. Sorry, the whole time I was thinking of something that came to my attention recently. with the whole boomer thing and, you know, kind of our generation and the next generation up kind of ragging on those older us because they don't really get how we, you know, how we had to live, or they don't, and, you know, we don't get how they had to live. It's, I love it how Twitter, because of course it's Twitter, has recently, you know, someone shared some screenshots of how, what are they calling them? Zoomers? The generation below us, how they're being like, oh, millennials complain about avocado toast when they're living in a house with one room or some shit like this. And I'm just like, they complain about how adulting is hard and all this. And I'm just like, oh no, stop. So I'm like, this has happened too quickly, right? You're not even out of high school yet. Calm the fuck.
At the end of the
it just amuses me so much.
Oh, man.
The end of the day, wait for 10 more years and they'll be exactly the same.
Yeah. But it'll be worse. It's just gonna get worse. Each every 10 years, it's gonna get worse and worse.
I mean, you can have a little bit of fun with it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like that petty drama and stuff. It's just like
it's great.
I love
reading it.
I love the memes of like, especially like things that, you know, boomers do, you know, and like our generation making fun of it. Like, this is a retro phone, like, you know, they're just mucking around, even though they know what it is. You know, and they're just mucking around with it, and, you know, and you're like, okay, that's a good joke. And then you actually see like a 4-year-old going, what is this? And I'm like, okay, I feel old.
What we do now, we go like, oh, you don't even, you weren't even around, you don't understand dial-up, like, you don't understand the pains of dial-up internet. And like, you know, my little niece or nephews, they're like, you know, they're in high school and primary school, and they're like, what are you on about? And I'm like, exactly, you just don't understand the struggle of someone picking up the phone while you're gaming with your friends.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's my sister, who's quite a bit older than me, who didn't have internet when she was younger. So it's just it's amusing how the cycle just continues on.
Yeah, far out. Because I don't know, we're getting into I don't know, the next age of humankind, really. Like, we're going into the cyber age of things, really. Like, we got robotics, we got the internet. You know, we got crazy things coming out. You got self-driving cars.
But no hoverboards,
you know?
Though. That's the only downside.
Yeah, that's a point.
There's no hoverboards. Come on, Back to the Future. Like, seriously, they were telling the future.
They almost got it right. Didn't they get like... Yeah, didn't they like get almost everything except for the hoverboard? Like, they got the lace-up shoes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did special set of
and
shoes.
the self-driving cars and everything. So
yeah.
they were pretty close on the mark.
No hoverboard though.
Someday, maybe.
We'll wish for it.
It'll come out when we're all like 80 and we're going to be like, yeah!
About time!
And that's how we all die, because we break our hips.
There was actually a video that I watched on Twitter today. It was like a TikTok or a meme video or something of like this dude who is pretending that like, say, like, this is 40 years or 20 years in the future or whatever, when we've got like our own kids or whatever. And so the kids, I think the year was like 2040 or something, and there was like these kids playing like a video game or whatever, and they're like losing, and they're like, like, how are we ever gonna get back from this? And then they're like, it's time. And they're like, it's time. And they all said it's time. And then the kid's like, Dad. And they were like, Dad. And then the father's like, yes, son. And it's like, it's time. And he's like, it's time. And so then he like hands over the headset to the father, and then it just like puts on, and then like talks to the other father, and it's like, it's time. I think it was like a Call of Duty thing, so it's like Bravo 6 going dark. And then it just like fades to black. It's like, we are the elite gamers.
Speaking of that kind of stuff, especially with young kids and that, my mate, his younger brother, this is probably my favorite story. He was calling me an old man. He was playing the latest like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare Remaster at the time. It just came out. He was playing Shipment, you know, versus everyone. And my mate knew I'm good at COD, you know. You know, that was my generation of COD.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you're playing Modern Warfare? And he goes, yeah, you old man. I went, all right. 1v1? Yeah. And then my mate, he's like, you just like stepped away. And I was like, shit, man. I put on my perks straight away. I took my time just to make him feel like, oh, he's got this in the bag. You know that meme where the guy just spawns in and he just goes shoots.
Yeah.
Basically that. That poor kid learned a very good lesson that day on who to call.
Don't you just love it though?
It's great
when you can stick it to him.
Like, yeah,
it's so good. But yeah, I don't know how much you want to cover on that kind of thing, because obviously now you've got like tournaments and stuff going on, and
that's something I'm not. That
you can get so crazy money in that now.
Yeah, well, we were just talking about, I don't know, I think it was like last episode or something. We kind of brought it up that dude, that kid that was in high school, who's like what, 12 or 13 in the Fortnite.
Oh yeah,
thing.
the Fortnite League. Yeah, that kid.
He became like a multi-millionaire.
I ran up to my mum. With a screenshot and just like, look at this. She goes, "What?" And I went, "See, this is what happens when you did not let me play video games."
This could have been me, mum.
She went, "It's like that much." And I went, "Yeah." And she goes,
"Look at all this house."
Yeah, I kind of did that to my parents as well, but my parents were like, well, you're never going to be that good at video games. Like, what are you on about? You're not going to get thousands of dollars by like playing video games. Like,
I showed my dad Rainbow Six Siege esports and like Call of Duty esports with like the like announcers and that, and my dad's like, oh, they don't have a setup, and you see that like your crowd cheering, like, the whole lights show, and he goes,
it is crazy.
What? And I went, yeah, I'm an athlete, Dad.
Do you reckon my one clutch ace qualifies me? Like,
that was really good. I do have to admit, that was really good.
I haven't played since then because it was such a high. I didn't know I'll never get it again.
I just love it, the reaction where all of us died, and she was playing a character. She was playing Twitch, hanging in the back, using her drone. You know, all of us had died. All the guys are dead. You know, and then of course, you know, being like the last operator, everyone's like, "Oh, we got this in the bag." Broke, you know, everyone started, you know, getting out, getting exposed. Zuna comes here, pat, and then you know, one more, like two more guys left.
Yeah,
there's a clip. The reaction says it all because we were just like,
yeah,
it was not skill. I want to make that clear. I'm not good at the game. It was all pure luck. There was no headshots. It was just.
Don't lie. You're actually professional. You just don't want to talk about
my alter ego, right?
She would put Darksider to shame. I'm sorry.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, I think we actually put that clip in one of our Twitch highlight videos. For GroupUp.
Yes, it is in that video.
So,
unfortunately, it only captures, I think, 2 of the kills.
Yeah, the final 2.
And that's a really old VOD, so I don't have it anymore. But like, I'll never do better. I'm not a first-person shooter, and so to pull something like that off is just kind of mind-blowing to me.
I think that the best ace I've ever got, my first ace, and I picked the worst class ever to get it. Like, of all things to get in my ace, I got the worst class, worst shotgun in the game. Pistols. I took down all 5 of them by myself. Everyone else died, you know. And I'm like, oh god, you know. I was playing Capcan of all things. I was playing Capcan with his shotgun.
Yeah.
You know, and I just rinsed them all. That worked.
Nice. I think my highlight would be that I was playing Counter-Strike, and this is playing in casual, so it's 10 versus 10. Anyway, there was 9 people left on the other team versus me.
Oh gosh.
And I managed to clutch it somehow and actually kill all 9 of them with an AWP and a pistol.
Oh man!
So unfortunately, I wasn't recording at the time, and
like no one ever believes you. Right?
No one believes you.
You pull off this cool play, and then like you'll play again, or you'll be playing with a full team, and you never. You'll be lucky to get like 1 kill, and everyone's like, "There's no way you got all of them." I'm like, I did. I swear, I was really cool.
Yeah, you got a 9-man feed. Yeah, right. Yeah, no.
Literally.
I think that's another reason why I started streaming multiplayer games, so I can actually show my friends.
Sometimes I do good. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, far out.
Time.
I love how we've made this run like overtime by like an hour.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
she's gone for like 2 hours. This might be a 2-parter. I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to do a 2-parter, that's fine.
I don't really want to upload a 2-hour video because that would take like a whole day to upload.
Oof.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling.
Feel free to just like cut out half
Chop
of
it up.
it.
If it's stuff like if we're repeating the same stuff over and over again, cut that stuff out.
That's right.
I feel like we've repeated some of the topics, like some of the facts that we've been saying, like more
Probably.
than twice. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Gotta love tangents.
That's what it's all about.
It's all about.
But let's finish up the podcast. I reckon we should probably wrap it up with a topic that I like to bring up at the end of every podcast that some people don't like, but some people do, is that, first off, do you believe in ghosts? And if so, have you had any ghost encounters yourself or know of people who believe that they've had encounters?
Man. I'm a kind of I have to see it to believe it type person, as everyone
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I think I've had experiences, but nothing really like, oh, that's maybe believe in it. Like, when I was doing trade work, when I was doing plumbing, I've had 2 experiences while working plumbing. I worked on this warehouse. It was empty. Basically, if you drop a screwdriver, it would echo for the entire warehouse. There was no one in there, just me and another bloke. And we're working on a pipe in there. We're working, like, I had my hand in it, and the other guy was like, "Oh, sorry, I'm gonna answer this phone call." Misses. He went to the van, and next, I'm working away, and I pull out this thing out of the pipe, and I hear like a whisper of like, and I'm like, and I was like, "Chris, is that you, mate?" And he goes, and I walked out thinking it was like, him mucking around. But he's in the van, like, on the phone still, like, literally on the phone, and I'm hearing it, and I was like, "Did you call me?" He was like, "No." He's like, okay. I went back in the thing, worked on it, and I was like, and I went, I looked, there was nothing, and I just stood there, and I went around the corner just thinking if, like, oh, he ducked out of the car, run across, no, and I waited for him, and he goes, "Oh, you got the job done?" I went, yeah. And he goes, "Fucking, I heard this weird shit." And he goes, "Really?" And I go, yeah, I heard this weird ass thing. And I went, "Okay." Like, I was thinking maybe it was like a bird, running on the, on the gutter, the pipe, echoes down and stuff.
You look for every logical conclusion first.
Yeah, exactly. You go, oh, it could be like a creak or something shaking or something, or the radio, or it's just on the phone. And then we start digging, and then, we just heard like a whisper of like, yeah. And Chris and I looked at each other and went, "The fuck was that?" And we just chilled in the van for a bit, had lunch, walked back, and we waited like a couple more minutes, and we did our job. Didn't call the boss and said we didn't hear any freaky, but it was like that, and I was like,
yeah.
Did that happen, or was that like something, and like we always like, oh, mate, it's probably like a low shit, probably like gutters or something like that, swamp gas, as we made the joke of. It's like, oh, it's just swamp gas.
Probably some homeless person like above you.
That's what we thought. We're in the warehouse district of the area, so it's just full of factories and that. So we thought it could
some
be
homeless dude playing jokes on you.
Maybe like something, we don't know, because like we just after that we just laughed and went on to the next job. But apart from that's my probably experience. Maybe like
Yeah. I like to believe in ghosts. I just kind of like the idea that maybe family is still watching over you a bit. It's a bit cheesy, but I kind of like the idea. Personally, when I was younger, I woke up kind of like just as the sun's rising, a bit of light sprinkling into the room. But I used to have a mirror right next to my bed when I was younger. This would have been when I was 13, I reckon. So of course there's a mirror. But anyway, I've woken up really early, which is something that's a bit odd for me. Sat up, and in the mirror, I've seen my grandfather, or like a very faint image of my grandfather, which is, it could have just been an image from when I was still sleeping. I'd just woken up. Not going to say it was definite, but I never got the chance to meet my grandfather or my grandmother. They both passed away before I was born. So I kind of like to think that maybe he was watching over me, checking in. But my mum is the one that's got a real interesting story. So our family has always just kind of believed in ghosts. We're not like fanatics or everything, like they exist, they are real, they can do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But we're like open to the idea because it's a nice idea.
Yeah.
But my aunt my aunt, my mum, before she had my sister or I, she moved into a house that her aunt used to own, and her aunt passed away in the house. And mum told me that every morning when she would wake up, there'd be a cupboard door open in the kitchen. And she'd close it. She'd make sure there was no gust, nothing was open, there was no breeze. And it was never the same cupboard. So it wasn't the cupboard's issue, because the cupboard would lock shut. Mum was telling me these were cupboards you had to reef on them to open them up, sort of thing.
Yeah.
She told me she got so sick of it because every morning she'd wake up, there'd be a cupboard open, 2 cupboards open, so on. She got so sick of it that one morning when she was making a coffee, she just said, "Oh, Aunt, can you stop opening the bloody cupboards every night?" And they never opened again.
Yeah.
You know, it's even if it wasn't my aunt or some random ghost, it's a great story, and it's you kind of like to think that it was her aunt just chilling in the house, you know, making a nuisance of herself.
Playing a practical joke on the family.
I'm like, how else do you explain something like that? If there's reasons that are going to open the cupboards or anything like that, you know?
Yeah.
And it stops after you yell at your dead aunt, like.
Stop being a pain in the ass. I know you're dead, but.
Sister had like an experience like that. She, like, you know, family member passed away, and I was like stuff on all the family, and she was sleeping in her room, and she felt like a weight on the edge of her bed, like a full-on weight. And she, like, apparently when she opened up her eyes, she saw like a black shadow, like a hood of like a person.
Yeah.
And she just says, "Can you just let me sleep?" And she felt the weight lifted up, and that's it. And
yeah.
She'll just, like, you know, like some nights she'll sleep and she'll feel someone, like, you know, patting her head, like, you know, just like you know, that feeling of someone's touching your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. She'll get that feeling or something like that, and, you know, and she was just like, it's probably just Grandpa annoying me or something like that.
It's that's what I like to believe. You know, it's a family member or a friend or something just checking in or playing a joke or something. Yeah. You know, like. It's even if it is a gust of wind or, you know, the house creaking or whatever, it's just a nice thought, you know, to think that it's some family checking in.
Yeah. Yeah. You know? I think there's like a quote or something that says that you actually die twice. The first time you die, like, physically. The second time that you die is when your name isn't spoken anymore or something like that. So
is that from fucking Coco?
I don't know.
The animated movie Coco deals with, like, that exact thing.
Oh my god!
You know, like, the people die and, like, they live in the land of the dead, but then they die again in the land of the dead when nobody is telling their stories or saying their names anymore.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of that, but no, I just like remembered that.
But yeah, no, and it's I would think that's fairly accurate, because I guess the memory of that person dies because there's no one telling their stories or remembering them.
Yeah. Yeah. Far out.
Go ghosties.
All right. So we rambled on over that for like another 10 minutes.
Quick closer. Yeah, right.
So, all right, let's finish off with, do you guys have anything to promote? Like, where should they, if they're still listening after 2 hours of listening to us ramble, where should they find you?
Basically Instagram, Twitch, of course, Bonesy_977. I try to post as much as I can with cosplay stuff, but during the whole, you know, things going around, there's been a little bit of less cosplay work being shown. But stream every when I try to on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, I try to do some craft streams or sometimes video games, depending on how I feel. But yeah.
For me, Twitch is probably where I'm most accurate, which is just Zunacorn. Twitter, I need to get better at Twitter, but it's Zunacorn as well on there. And Instagram, which is probably where I'm most active besides Twitch, is actually @purple_Zara. But again, all of that can be found like through the Twitch. So Zunacorn, really.
Oh,
that's
awesome.
Me.
Yeah. So if for some reason you're still listening to us ramble on after 2 hours, be sure to go check them out. They're lovely, amazing people that I've known for a couple of years now. and I'm going to be honest, they were probably the highlight of my PAX convention last year. Definitely made the week worth it, especially after the beginning of it. But yeah, I really do appreciate you guys a lot, and hopefully the community can get behind you guys, and yeah.
You're the awesome one here.
Thank you very much for joining on this podcast, and really do appreciate it.
I'm
but
sorry that you're gonna have to edit this. But
nah,
you're welcome.
it's alright. I don't even know if I can be bothered editing it or not, or if I'll just cut it in half and fill it out.
Do it.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, thank you guys once again for joining the podcast. Do you guys have any last words for the listeners?
You guys, just be yourselves.
Stay safe. Have fun.
Yeah.
Eat a donut.
Eat a donut. Yeah.
There we go. Now everybody that's listening has to go and eat a donut. And if they don't, then stuff you.
Why not?
Exactly. Why not? No, but it's been great fun, and even though we've been rambling on for like ages, it's good that we just have that like connection. Especially you two, you just have that connection where you can just ramble on for ages, and yeah. No, but it's been good.
I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing.
For like 2 years, like going on the 3, like jeez.
But yeah, thank you very much for joining this week's podcast episode. Their social medias will be down below, and yeah, be sure to stick around for next week's podcast. Not sure who we're going to have on, but episode 6 will be out next week, hopefully. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you very much for those who are listening. Really do appreciate it. And that is it for us on episode 5 of the GroupUp podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good one, and we'll see you all again very soon. Cheers.